Hi, I'm Josh. I wrote poetry.
What poets are you inspired by? Do you have any?
I like Blake. I like E. Cummings. I like Paul Simon. I like Stephen Colbert. It depends on how broadly you want to define poetry. I like nature. Nature is a great poet.
Do you go somewhere or do something specifically to be inspired to write?
Anything embarrassing is great for poetry. Great for poetry. Just things that make you feel like an idiot. You just go home and you gotta get it out. Discontentment. Rejection. Rejection is wonderful for poetry. Oh. You wanna go out with me? No. I run for 12 miles and write a poem about it. If you just, like, if you live and living makes you make art, like I have to make some art. Like Stephen King said, if he doesn't write horror books, he starts having horrible nightmares and can't sleep. Like he has to get it out, and so he does. I feel like that's what poetry is for me.
Have you been writing poetry since you were a child?
Fifth grade. Fifth grade, I wrote a long poem for a poetry contest and didn't win, but I did. If you expand the meaning of winning.
After you lost that poetry contest, did you write a poem about that?
No. I'm not like, I really try to shy away from emo poetry. It happens anyway. You'll see like half of the shit on my blog is, oh, girls, damn it.
When you have those kind, do you like delete it off your blog? Like after you see it, you're like, oh.
No, I try not to put stuff up that I don't think is good enough to go up on the blog. There's stuff I write that I don't put up. Like I've written poems and just deleted it.
Oh, okay.
That feels good. Yeah.
Why do you make your poems public? Like, why do you write for other people to read? You could just keep it to yourself.
I did that for a long time. For the most part, I just save poems and stick them in a folder. And then at some point, I'm like, I'm going to make a book. And I did. And I realized, okay, well, as much as I like writing it, which is the reason I do it, right, that I've got the itch, I've got to get it out of me. But when I realized that people really enjoyed it, and that it gave me a sense of value and worth, that they were enjoying it, I'm like, well, then, yeah, why not put them all up?
I think the poem was called Ignorance, I think. But I think I enjoyed your commentary more than I did the actual poem. And no. It made me like appreciate the poem so much more.
Because that's an important thing, right? Like why you wrote the poem. And I know, poems are supposed to be, they're supposed to give enough space for the reader to think and put their own meaning on it and things like that. But at the same time, it's like, I'm me. I should know what I was writing about, and I didn't. Like I look back, I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking when I was 13. Like I'm past that now. I don't have those pimples anymore, and I'm not fat anymore, and like, what was I thinking as a fat pimple to me? I don't know. Like I'm too far from that now. And I felt like that was a loss. So that now, like every time I write a poem, there's just a little bit of context. Thank you.
Oh, just like this is random, but what's your like personal philosophy on things?
You are a human being. You cannot, with all your powers of deductive reasoning and agency, you cannot overcome the fact that you are a human being. You will feel shitty, and the world will seem like a worse place because your brain is sitting on top of shitty emotions. And then somebody's gonna kiss you, or you're gonna watch this really awesome movie, or you're gonna play a really good game of soccer, or you're just gonna eat the right thing and get a good night's sleep, and all of a sudden the world's better. All of a sudden the world's better. You have to learn that, figure it out, see, okay, as me, as I am, whatever that is, I need to experiment until I know what I am, and then I need to do the best that I can with that. I call myself a definitionist, right? Which is that God is a term. God is a word. It's currency. What you fill it with, the value that you fill it with, is up to you. But no one doesn't believe in God. You believe in science, right? Theory, research, proposition. That's your God. You believe in nature, earth, water, fire, whatever. That's your God. It's just something to strive for. It's just something that makes you feel whole, something that unites everything. So yeah, no, I'm not an atheist.
What would you define your God as? When you say he's a word or it's a word?
It's like when you're hungry and you stick your head in the refrigerator, and you didn't used to smell cucumbers, but like today you smell cucumbers. You're like, oh yeah, cucumbers are happening today. You know what I mean? And you eat the cucumber and you feel good. Like, I feel like that gravity. And people call it love. I think it's like the way I've defined love is gravity without weight. And I feel like that's my God, is that, if you want to call that, right? That's the essence that holds things together. That's what pulls elements together. That's what pulls universes together and makes things swing around each other. That's what pulls you to the person that's right for you. It's just like gravity without weight. Like, I'm drawn to you and there's nothing that makes it feel heavy. I'm coming. Like, that's my version of it. And that's heaven right there too, right? That's where God lives.
When I was reading your poems, like I didn't take a second. I never looked at any of the collages. Like, I don't remember what any of them looked like. I can't picture any of them. I didn't even notice they were there, I guess I could really say, because for me, like, when I'm writing, I really try and create the pictures like you were talking about, and so for me to put like a picture there for someone else is like, I feel like ruining the image that they could create.
Once you read the poem, your next impulse should be to look at the picture and say, what the hell does that picture have to do with the poem? Like, the idea is, right, was that what was going on? Exactly. For example, somebody asked me on impatience, right? Impatience is a virtue. Patience is for nice guys hurt and sociopaths who hurt you. And then you look up above, and there's a guy sitting on the bench with candles around him, and there's like a baby trying to get up off the ground with a guy yelling, and then there's this chick in the ocean flipping her hair. And what is the collage? I'm like, well, the collage is a 3-step process for impatience. First, find your fire inside of your bound self. Then anger, get up. And then revelry, right? The image in the poem is of these bands holding you down and constricting the funnel of your perception. Right? Those are the images, and those are not anywhere in the picture. So I tried, right, to give them each their space. They're both their entities.
Do you have a specific target audience that you're trying to capture in the poetry, or are you just inviting your poetry out?
I'm a whore. Anyone. If you like it, if you find something valuable in it, you are my audience. You are my audience.
Is the speaker of the poem always you?
Almost always. I mean, there's the one about like the girl, Touche, the chick who's like writing her song and listening to her music, and it's just all just so smooth and meaningless that she just like runs outside and rips up her paper and then pets a dog, and she's like, oh, I needed to feel something. Like, that's not me. That's a girl. I think it's very valuable. As much as most of my poems are just like, I've got something that I got to get out, blah. I think it's a very valuable experience when you're seeing something going on in somebody else's life to pop yourself in that. Just like when I'm at the shelter, like to pop myself in a dog's head. To think about those girls who are crying in their bedrooms. And like, I've never been a girl or crying in my bed. No, I have cried in my bedroom. Not a long, long time. But like, yeah, to pop your head in another world. And so every once in a while I do that. I posted a poem called Frankie Flesh. And it's thinking about the life position of all of the pieces in a sandwich. Yeah, and so see, that wasn't me. None of them were me. But I put myself in them because I think like next time I make a sandwich, like what's my pickle thinking? What's my mustard thinking? My mustard's thinking, I've been in the refrigerator for a year and you never use me. And I'm like, I know it, I love mustard, but I'm so lazy. Maybe if you were a squirt bottle and not like the scoop, because I'd have to dirty a knife. It's good to get inside your sandwich every once in a while, people, is all I'm saying.
Do you ever just wake up in the middle of the night to write poetry?
No.
No?
I've written poems based on dreams I've had. I've written poems based on things that have woken me up in the middle of the night that I think about. Last night I was having trouble going to bed, and so I started thinking about this guy who skateboarded up behind me in Isla Vista while I was running, and I almost decked him in the face. I got 10 feet, 5 feet, like I was, and he goes by with the ghost fingers like he was gonna scare me. So I was thinking about what if this guy had come up and I had turned around, and instead of ghost fingers it had been a knife, and I was like, right? Like reverse, poop, poop, guy goes down on the ground. But then I thought, what if he cracked his head open? And all of a sudden his family's angry at me, and he's angry at me, and he wants vengeance on me. How do I make right the fact that I just cracked the guy's head open? So I started playing out this whole narrative last night at 2 in the morning because I couldn't get to bed. Because it was a little too warm in my room.
As a poet, do you think it's more important, like, the intent of your poems or how readers interpret it?
I'm going to just get rid of that dichotomy right now and reframe it as the way people interpret your poem is the ultimate test of the quality of your writing, right? If you write a poem really well, it should minimize misinterpretations. If there are lots and lots of misinterpretations of your poem, you need to write it better, right? That's my job. So there you go. My goal is for synchrony, right? That when I write it, everybody who reads it says, I